So was she then at 1.5 misdiagnosed with the what are they called? The
febrile.
I know what they're called. The febrile. I was going to call them the febrile. The febrile. Was she misdiagnosed then, or
it's a good question. No. Yeah. Okay, so you can totally have febrile seizures, and really and truly grow out of it, and you don't have them anymore, and you don't have epilepsy. It's just for Nova. You kind of don't know if someone has epilepsy until their body shows up and their brain sort of broadcasts these seizures in a way that kind of puts you in that new department of, yes, you have epilepsy. And then, of course, we did genetic testing, and it turns out she has a genetic mutation, and that is what causes it. The good news is that she was medicated, the seizures stopped, and then we titrated her off of her meds, and she is currently seizure-free without meds. So that's also the wonderful, unpredictable, and amorphous creature that is the brain.
How did you, full transparency, our daughter at 8 months old was diagnosed with a rare form of pediatric cancer. And she also has a mutation of her cancer cells. So we're like, I
how does that show up for her in her experience right now?
So right now, right in this moment, she is cancer-free. We have, every 3 months she gets scans. And so we're in this weird holding pattern to sort of see what's going to happen with her mutation, which we don't know. But my biggest question for you is, how did you learn to navigate your daughter's epilepsy within the medical system and figure out how best to support her? And where did you start? What was that like?
First of all, I'm sorry you're going through that. I really sympathize and also relate to, I empathize with where you're at right now. And I knocked all the wood, around me just to be like, I'm so glad that she's currently cancer-free.
Thank you. Yeah.
Nova so Scott and I really Scott was incredible, my ex-husband, in being integral to being able to kind of decode a lot of the language, because sometimes it just gets confusing. And I think as a mom, you're so wrapped up in the emotional, you're carrying all that emotionality, and I was grateful to have a very active teammate in that. Scott went to the community college in our neighborhood to learn how to be an EMS, because he wanted to understand and be a paramedic and be able to speak the language. So smart. That was very noble and cool, obviously. But Children's Hospital Los Angeles, I cannot speak more highly of them. But children's hospitals in general, I think, have this incredible way of supporting the children, but then also considering the parent. And it is hard. Not everybody has the best bedside manner. That's not their job. Their job is to see how they can best help you and the diagnosis of your child. I think the most profound resource was forums, parent forums and the Epilepsy Foundation, and connecting with people who are dealing with the same thing. I think peer-to-peer parent conversations and sharing of, medicines and different modalities of managing whatever it is. I think that became the resource that was most fruitful for us.
Yeah. How has it also affected, if at all, your second child? Because he came right
Yeah.
3 years after, right?
Yes. He was present for most of her stuff. And, you know, he is the most well-adjusted guy ever because he was born hypoxic. So we had to deal with neurology shit with him too.
My Lord, I'm so sorry.
But
it's just so much.
He came back. He's with us, and he's A-okay in his development. And I think that he's just been awarded with such sort of grace and flow to how he takes on the world. You know, for people who don't know the word hypoxic, it means without oxygen. He was trigger warning. He was stillborn when he was born, and then he came sort of back, as it were. So he was not with us. And then he came.
Lord.
Yeah. And so this happens to people, you know, this is like, I speak about it because I'm like, hey, look, we're all just doing the best we can. And once again, this is why Scott and I have forged such a familial and loving bond. And, you know, with that, I think he has this sense of I've died before I've lived. So he has this very Zen quality to him. And he sees his sister go, you know, with her EEGs and, you know, the 72-hour EEGs where she's got this whole computer on her head, you know, while she's at home or going out to In-N-Out Burger or Target to get a whatever, you know, and Nova suffers from anxiety for obvious reasons. If you can imagine trying to articulate yourself as a 5 or 6-year-old and really just coming into your communication and how you relate to people, and then you get zapped with something to arrest your ability to communicate. So she's got a lot on her plate, you know, and I think hearing Nova sort of articulate what it feels like, even seizures, like how she experiences and what it feels like, because it's kind of curious, you know, you're like, what does that feel like? And the way she speaks to her friends and her classmates, and how she has this sense of now ownership and understanding that that's just part of who she is what inspired me to write the book that is called All About Brains. And she also has a cocktail of other magic, which includes anxiety disorder and ADHD and dyslexia, which are all things that I talk about in the book as well. So,
how do you take care of yourself when you're going through all of that as a mom?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so curious because
I'm like weed. I'm just kidding. Just like good weed and alone time. Therapy. I have spaces that I go to that are purely for me. I do ceramics, so when I do ceramics, it's like I don't even have answers to anything. So if someone's like, "Mom, where's the blah, blah, blah?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't. Because I just always have the answers, especially as a director. I'm like, I'm always answering all the questions for everyone. And then I just don't know anything. And it's wonderful. So that's a meditation that I take very seriously. I do yoga, I do nature walks, I do all these types of things when I can. And I write.
Yeah.
So those, you know, and it's also, you know, what we don't value enough, which is just I service and participate in friendship. You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah, community.
Yeah. I really like to invest in that, and like silliness and playfulness, like game nights and you know, house parties. You know, when I don't have the kids, I'm like, seize the day, you know, seize this moment. Take a nap, you know, like do things that are just purely loving and a privilege to this moment of aloneness, you know?